Welcome back, everyone, to Red Spotlight Entertainment. I'm your host, Alexis J. Soto, joined by Mr. Peter Martinez. This is going to be episode 305. On this episode, Peter and I will cover the latest news and films coming out of the world of movies, winners and losers from the Golden Globe Awards, as well as some reviews for One Night in Miami, Sound of Metal, and Tom and Jerry. So, a lot of things coming at you today. Listen to The Table with Peter Martinez and Kyle Lira. They just had a new episode this week with two films, Dolomite Is My Name and My Life as a Zucchini. Fantasy Fair is also, of course, running weekly. They're about to wrap up their shorts-themed month, and I believe they're having a Mickey Mouse theme for March. So, stay tuned for that every Friday. Fantasy Fridays, as Kyle likes to say. And let me also give an update on the COVID situation. It's very brief, but seemingly good news. The president says that we are on track to have enough vaccine supply for every adult in America by the end of May, which is 2 months ahead of schedule, which originally was supposed to be for July. He is directing states to prioritize teachers, school staff, childcare workers to get at least one shot by the end of March. Peter, this sounds like a lot of good news. This is pretty freaking good news here.
And then Texas opened up 100%.
You beat me to the punch.
I know, because I knew you were going to say that.
You beat me to the punch, man. I had it written down here. Texas opens their own Jurassic Park.
I knew that's where you're going to go, so I just wanted to ruin it.
All right, well, you did, so you're welcome. Yeah, thank you for that.
This is good. This is very good. Obviously, I think it's pretty clear by summer we'll be able to have, anyone that wants a vaccine will be able to get one, which is very, very good. That will go a long way in, obviously, containing the spread and maybe just bringing it down as much as possible to be able to open up. But we gotta really work. See, this is the thing that worries me is about good news. People read like one good headline and go like, oh fuck, it's over, awesome, and then you get shit like what happened in Texas. So
what are you gonna do, man? Texas is gonna Texas.
They just jump from one tragedy to another. And they don't care. They just do it. And it's just like, you can't tell me what to do.
Most of us will have vaccinations by the time that May comes, which is, I think, months ahead of where I think even our best hopes and expectations were. And that's very good news. But that is no excuse for not wearing a mask, especially in public. Especially with COVID variants rampant as well. So beware of that. So there's your COVID update. What did you see this week? Any shows, any movies that you've been watching?
I guess I watched it today. I watched Bubba Hotep.
What the fuck is that?
Bubba Hotep stars, who's the actor from Evil Dead? What's his name?
I've never seen Evil Dead.
That's right. I would show it to you, but you'd probably hate it. Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell.
You know who Bruce Campbell is, right?
I can't place him.
Oh my god, he's amazing. He, yeah, let me see if I can find his name right here. Okay, yeah, Bubba Hotep. Yeah, he plays, I think came out early 2000s. He plays Elvis Presley. And the whole thing is like he's in an elderly home now. He didn't really die. He switched places with an Elvis impersonator. And then he fell into a coma shortly thereafter. And, he can't really go back to his old life. But he's the Elvis as an old man in an old folks home. And his only best buddy there is a guy named Jack, who is a black man who claims to be John F. Kennedy, who was the vice president? I think Johnson had he claims died him and hid him there, to get him out of the way some political
Oh my
bullshit.
god.
And you don't know if he's just a crazy old man or whatever. And so that's his only friend there in this old nursing home. And Bubba Hotep is in response to, because one night, a truck driving a mummy sarcophagus next to the old folks' home falls off, and now every night this mummy, for some reason, is dressed in cowboy garb, attacks the old folks and tries to and sucks the souls out of them, to stay alive every night. So then they call him Bubba Hotep because Hotep is like Egyptian name, I think, for like pharaohs or something, and then Bubba because looked like a cowboy Bubba, so it was like Bubba Hotep. And it's about these two trying to stop this mummy from sucking the souls out of the whole nursing home.
Okay.
See, I enjoyed it. See, I can share the movies I could share with you on to the table, but I try to keep it to films that are more your style. But I enjoyed the film quite a bit. It's a bit of a cult classic.
Okay.
I'm not making this up.
It sounded like you did, though.
I swear I did. I did not make it up. It's a real ass movie.
Both of us have seen WandaVision, obviously. If you want to hear more about it, you can catch... David and I did the review for WandaVision, our longest review episode yet. It was just about over 2 hours, talking about all the ins and outs of the episode, as well as the... what's it called? Conversation surrounding the television show. Peter, David asked me to ask you if you would like to make an appearance on our finale next week to discuss the finale for WandaVision. So do you have any thoughts on how things are going? Yeah,
it's good.
Okay.
I'm really enjoying it. Yeah.
All right, great.
I'm really interested in the finale.
Yeah. What I saw this week, well, we have the reviews that we'll be discussing, Tom and Jerry, One Night in Miami, and Sound of Metal at the end of the episode. But I've actually gotten back into watching some TV shows. Because of WandaVision's, they hijacked the whole sitcom format. I've actually gone back into watching one from 10 years ago. Well, it recently ended, but it's been on for 10 years. Modern Family. Because I watched the show religiously from like the first 5 seasons, I remember, and then I fell off because I think I was distracted with other things, and that was like, sitcoms week to week aren't the best thing to keep your attention,
It's hard to I think any show week to week.
I disagree.
Sitcoms.
I disagree with that one. But with sitcoms, that's the one where it's like it's hard to hold your attention, because at that point I was also like just getting involved with other things, other genres of TV shows as well as movies. So, but they're better, obviously. I mean, to me, the sitcoms are kind of even better just binge watching them all in one sitting. I've already gotten through 2 seasons in like, I don't know, a couple of days. And I haven't also seen the last 5 seasons as well. So I have 5 new seasons ahead of me as well as a rewatch. So, yeah, I remember really loving that show when it was on. And it really only just recently went off the air last year. So it's 11 seasons.
Yeah, that's like your that feels like the golden rule for like the biggest sitcoms.
Yeah. 11 seasons.
11 seasons. That's what Frasier did, that's what Cheers did. Isn't that what the the Big Bang Theory did?
The Big Bang Theory had 12 seasons. They went one over. Like,
yeah, no wonder everyone fucking hates the show.
Yeah, I that one I really have little to no interest revisiting. But Modern Family is really good, and because clearly WandaVision used that in one of their recent episodes. That's the one that I was in my head the most, and so Golden Girls probably would have had more seasons, but B. Arthur was like, I'm out of here after 7 years. So, but then again, 7 seasons is a good time as well.
That's really good.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of episodes.
We talk about it all the time that not all TV shows, have like WandaVision. It's a perfect example. That's a one and done. It's a great.
I hope it is.
I mean, Hill House is a great example of that one. It's a one and done.
Oh yeah.
You don't need to have You don't need to have another season. And some, even in the best of shows. I mean, with Frasier, I love Frasier, and that probably is next on my list because it's also on Hulu. Hulu has a lot of great sitcoms. It has all my favorites. It's got
Hulu.
Yeah,
I think is the best for TV.
it is. It like I'm watching them. So, Modern Family is on there. Frasier's on there. I Love Lucy is on there. The Golden Girls are on there. Like those are some of my favorites ever. So.
Yeah. No, whenever I just want to watch like TV, I turn to Hulu.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why part of me hopes Disney doesn't kill it, because that's a great little outlet for TV fans,
They'd probably incorporate it into...
Well, the ones that they own, like Modern Family, I think.
That's right. Because they don't own all them shows.
No, they don't.
They better not kill Hulu then.
Yeah.
I think Hulu still makes them enough money.
I would think so. I think enough people are like subscribed to it. So anyway, I'm revisiting that, and it has just brought a piece of my life back that I remember fondly of. Before we move on to the big stuff, let's get into some of the small news of the week. Raya and the Last Dragon. This is kind of a big one here because the reviews have dropped, and from my observation deck here, it has seemingly gotten, rave reviews, I'd be putting it mildly. People have even thrown around the word masterpiece in some cases. Like, it is just receiving so much adoration. And obviously, Raya is going to be opening in theaters, except Cinemark in the United States, but in theaters where they're open, as well as the premiere access on Disney Plus this Friday.
This is a weird question, but is she a Disney princess?
And here I was hoping we wouldn't have to deal with that question until at least after having seen the movie. I don't care.
It just popped in my head.
I know, but you just know this is going to be in the next annoying question that goes on until the end of time. I don't care. I don't know, to be honest with you.
Well, then you're going to have 2 Asian Disney princesses.
Mulan and Moana do not count as...
Oh, that's true.
And then with Raya... Okay, look. We'll be reviewing the movie, I think, in 2 weeks. We're gonna have we're not gonna, evidently Ms. Moreno, who usually provides us these movies, has formed a little coup, and she will be denying us the chance to watch this on Disney Plus until the following week.
It's so funny because in my mind I was like, yeah, I'll just watch it before these guys. But then she's 2 steps ahead. That rascally Moreno.
Because you have to pay $30. You have to pay $30 to see the movie, and she is usually the one that throws the money at Disney, and the rest of us get to basically mooch off of that. But in this case, she's saving it for.
She has all that retirement money.
Sure, but in this case, we're planning an outdoor screening for our little group here, in the middle of March. So she's making us wait until then to see it, which, you know what? I don't mind waiting. I have other things I'm watching currently to keep me busy. So I'm not of the mind where I need to see this now. Besides, we'll have WandaVision to talk about all weekend long. So
yeah. And then once I see that ending, I really want to go back and just
watch them all over again. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that'll happen.
Just binge them.
Yeah, so
see how I feel about it after that.
Kyle seems to feel, from my previous conversations with him, that Raya is going to fare a lot better than Mulan did with the premiere access. I am still very skeptical about how many people are going to go for this $30 thing. I was arguing to him, I think the price point is just too high for too many parents, too many households are just like, I am not paying $30 for basically a movie rental or something like that. How do you think this is going to go?
I haven't seen much pushback to it. There's some people go like, $30 is a lot. But if people watch it and they're like, oh fuck, this is really good, you'll get people go like, fine, and then just drop it and watch it. It'll be really, really interesting. Because I don't know if they ever released the numbers for Mulan when Mulan did that. But Mulan also sucked. So, yeah. I think this is the first time this is being tried with like a good film. So we'll see.
So Disney and Pixar released a trailer for Luca, their upcoming movie. What did you make of it?
It's cute.
Strange, too. I wasn't expecting mermaids to be in the middle of all this.
It's Disney. You gotta add. You can't just be kids being kids. You gotta add some mystical element into the mix.
Mm-hmm.
It looks cute from the animation to the world and the characters. Of course, like nothing is really explained.
No, I mean, nothing ever is explained in Pixar trailers.
Yeah. It seems very Little Mermaid, but with two boys. It seems like the town hates mermaids and they kill them, but these Little Mermaid kids are like, oh, but the surface world, it's gonna be so much fun. It's our summer to da-da-da-da-da. And then they gotta shenanigans ensue as they gotta hide being a mermaid. And then, of course, there's probably much deeper meaning to it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's no hint of what that is in this trailer. By the time you get to the second trailer, you probably get a bigger picture of what's going on.
Well, it seems like family movies are actually doing some kind of business for theaters these days, which is a lot because they're making no money whatsoever. Tom and Jerry had the second best box office opening of the pandemic with $13.7 million.
Damn.
While simultaneously also debuting on HBO Max. Isn't that interesting?
That's funny. I mean, you got to assume that these are the movies that would do the best, right? Because they appeal to the most people.
Mm-hmm. Henry Cavill is gone. He's out as Superman, and WB is moving forward with J.J. Abrams directing the next Superman movie, which apparently is going to feature, at least according to rumors, an actor of color in the lead role.
I'm going to say something very cancelable.
Okay.
Right now. Okay? Everyone get your pitchforks ready. I think there's a shit ton of comic characters that whatever the race is genuinely doesn't matter. Like, let's say someone like Bruce Banner. I think Bruce Banner can be played by literally any color, any race. I don't think that's inherent to sort of the character. And I'm not saying you can't do it with someone like Superman and Batman, because those are the two characters that people have talked about, like, changing their race up in the past. But the way I always viewed the characters, there was something a bit inherent to them that I saw as white. More specifically with Batman. The fact that Batman was this extremely wealthy individual from this incredibly wealthy dynasty family going back generations upon generations for Gotham, and he's this he's he's the most privileged person imaginable, and just like a taste of what people within the city felt, kind of broke him. And I feel like there's just something there with him that goes to him being white. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then with it's sort of similar with Superman again, because he's good looking, he's smart, he's got strength. He's kind of the opposite, where he's a commoner technically, but he's still privileged in a sense. You know what I mean? It's less specific. I think it's less specific within the DNA of Superman, like his whiteness, but there is sort of something there, like he's a where that comes from. Plus, this is a little bias from a Mexican, but I think it's a lot easier to sell his sort of immigrant allegory and the importance of it, because he's like this regular looking he's a white guy. He's Joe white guy. And so when you play with immigrant stories, I think for people that don't get it as far as immigrants are people and the whole situation that they have to go through and stuff like that, I think that's an easier sell to them. So there's that. But beyond that, I'm perfectly open and fine with a black Superman. I think it's awesome. You know, again, like in my mind, the way I view the characters, there's little itty bitty connections where it's like white kind of. It does somewhat inform the characters, how they were made at the time. Mm-hmm. That not all Marvel characters have that, like, or DC characters, right? Like, yeah. Obviously, Aquaman doesn't have to be white, you know, at all. But that's something that I have no issue just completely like, whatever, and just tossing to the side and being open to anything. Like, I'm totally cool, and I think it's really awesome that they're going for a black Superman. And also, that opens up new areas of the character that just wouldn't be there with a white Superman. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And the same with if they decided to do a black Superman or an Asian Superman or an Indian, and same with Batman. I'm cool with it. I think it's great. And also the reason why I think it's great is I got really bummed out when it was like, J.J. Abrams, they gave this shit Superman to J.J. Abrams. But apparently, the writer they got
Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Ta-Nehisi Coates.
I want to say.
Yeah, Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Right. He's awesome. He's a great writer. Mm-hmm. And he's an all-around really cool dude. So I know whatever he writes is going to be really good. And he's written comics before. I think he wrote Black Panther comics.
That's true.
I haven't read them, but I saw the video. I don't know. I always figure out Grace Randolph. Grace, I love you. She was talking about this news, and she was saying how, like, well, you know, she likes Ta-Nehisi Coates, but she can never really get into his comics because it delves too much into sort of the political side, and there's not enough action. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. That got me more excited for him. If that's the stuff he's doing with his comic books, if he brings that to a Superman movie, especially with a black Superman, I'm all for it.
Sounds to me like he should have been the person to write Black Panther, if that's the case.
That would have been great, right? Yeah, maybe get him on the sequel. However that's going to happen, yeah, that's going to be really interesting.
I think this is really interesting news. I think the best news out of all of this is that J.J. Abrams is not writing this movie.
Yes, because even if he ends up directing, at the very least, he's not writing. And maybe he learned that from his experience with Star Wars.
I hope he did.
Just stop
writing.
I'm not, because he's not a writer. And I know that's fucked up to say as me, who's not anything. But every time he tries to write, it's just, it's nothing. It's bad. But he's not a bad director.
No.
He can bring that cheery sunshine Superman that I'd really like to see. And Ta-Nehisi Coates is a fantastic writer. It's not confirmed if JJ is going to direct. It just said he's going to produce.
Right, yeah.
So they'd probably get another director.
Maybe he's not going to direct if he's not writing then.
Yeah, especially if they say he's just producing. Because at this point, I feel like you would have already decided yeah, I'm gonna direct this shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
By the time they made the announcement. But no, it's cool. And I just want to say that because I know, like, oh god, like the stupid, useless, like this is the the shit that I steer away from because I know it's useless and dumb. Is the arguments of like, oh, well, Black Superman. Ooh, what's next? A white Black Panther? And it's just like, it's so stupid. The people that get mad over this. And like, I feel there are some characters where their race is very much part of the DNA of the character. Like Black Panther, of course, is one of them. There are other characters as well. In my eyes, I see it a little bit, just the way I view the characters with Superman and Batman, but it's not like super necessary. If you want to take them and be like, nah, we're gonna do this, I think it's perfectly fine. Whereas with something with Black Panther, you can't make a white Black Panther work at all.
No.
Like, that's ridiculously stupid. So yeah, that's my feel.
And what about Henry Cavill? What do you feel about him?
I feel bad, I guess, that I know a lot of people really, really love his Superman. I think if you're looking for like the classic look of Superman, he had it. He absolutely had it. You know, from his muscles to his jawline to his hair. Like, he really, I think, looked like the body, everything. He had that like look of the Superman from the screen. I'm not crazy about his acting. I never have been. But you know what? I think that shows that we are progressing. Because you sometimes, you have, like women models that make the jump to acting, and they're not that great. But, they're there because, maybe they look good, and that's the way the producers work. And they make a career out of that. I think Henry Cavill did that, but for men. Plus, he's a really fucking cool dude, when it seems like.
Yeah.
So I feel bad. Never say never, though, because if the crazy Snyder fans, which, I mean, they seem to be the only ones who know how to get their way in this world, if they make the Snyder Cut Justice League a major hit, they might sign off on a project specifically for HBO Max. And even if it's not Superman specific, Zack will bring him in for a scene or to be part of the story or something,
Yeah, like these seem to be pretty cavalier over there about like the whole continuity thing. Like they don't care. They're gonna have two Batman at the same time. They could definitely have two Superman at the same time. They could have like a, I don't know, 8 or 6 episode Henry Cavill Superman show if they wanted one on HBO Max.
I think their bet is people will watch all of it.
Yeah.
And so far, it's true.
I don't think that's a bad business strategy. I mean, I guess some people feel that way, but like, I mean, just make them good. That's kind of...
Joker got him an Oscar, man. Like, after that, of course, they're going to go all in.
Don't remind me. Neil Blomkamp is working on the screenplay for District 10. Do you care about this?
Somewhat. You know how I feel about sequels.
It's like Cloverfield getting a sequel, a direct sequel, kind of.
Yeah, that's kind of... I know a lot of people will look at the end of Cloverfield and say, not Cloverfield, District 9, and say that it was left open for a sequel. But I felt like the open-endedness of it was kind of the point. I kind of liked that it kind of left like, ooh, what does happen next?
And I guess if you have a sequel, you're going to have to answer that question.
Then the whole point is to answer what happens next. So yeah. I like Neil Blomkamp, so we'll see.
Paramount Plus is working on some more IPs for their streaming service. They're working on live action projects for Dora the Explorer and Fairly Odd Parents.
Man, what is Dora the Explorer really like this strong of an IP?
They had a movie recently, didn't they?
Yeah, a live action movie.
I guess. I don't know.
Maybe they're just like, man, that Latino demographic is really expanding. Fuck, like, what do we have? Dora, fuck it, okay, like, Dora.
And Nickelodeon already made 3 TV movies with Drake Bell on those Fairly Odd Parents, which were
they made 3.
I didn't even know they made 3. I thought it was just the one, but there was this channel, Quentin Reviews. I think that was it. He reviewed all 3 of them. I didn't know there were 3 of them.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I only remember the one.
Yeah.
Wait, so all 3 had Drake Bell?
Yeah.
Oh my god! I didn't know.
No, me neither.
Oh wow! I want to check out that video. That's really interesting.
I'll see if I can find it and I'll send it over to you. They're a pretty great watch because they're horrible. I've never seen them, but
the first one was bad.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's just another one of these projects.
Look at what we got.
Yeah.
They're following the Disney model because the Disney model works. So they look at all the stuff they have and they're like, fuck, remake. Whatever.
Snyder Cut has confirmed to end in a cliffhanger. What the fuck is this?
He's determined, man. He's fucking determined. I know he says like, it'll probably never happen, but you got some hope in you. If you're literally like, because you're making the movie, you could cut out that cliffhanger and just say, nah, fuck it. I know this is my only chance at finishing the story I set out with in Man of Steel. Let me just put a definitive end. But he put a cliffhanger because he knows if he puts a cliffhanger, his Snyder army will be like, we want the sequel, we want the next one. But I think coming out with a new Superman, especially a black Superman, is just WB's way of like cutting that shit at the knees to go like, we're going in a different direction. Because his movies aren't cheap either. It's not like he makes like these, every frame is dripping with CG.
CG layered on top of CG.
Yeah, like he doesn't make cheap films. It's one thing to hobble together a film that you already had made, but to throw another like $300 million, no, it's never gonna happen. But again, he could get something smaller-ish. I can see him wanting, if my best bet would be him doing like a Batman show with Ben Affleck and fucking Jared Leto Joker.
Huh. I can see them. That would get a lot of attention. Yeah,
for sure. And I think that's the whole reason why he brought Jared Leto's Joker in. I think he's really. You saw the trailer. The trailer even sold Jared Leto's Joker. I think if he can do something else, that's what he really wants to do.
Well, good luck to him then, right?
Yeah.
Anthony Mackie says that the Falcon and Winter Soldier show is going to show how Sam Wilson becomes the Falcon.
I thought he's been the Falcon.
Yeah.
Is the penultimate episode going to be someone coming in going like, you're different. You're the Falcon.
Oh my God.
And then he gets his name like fucking the Scarlet Witch. It's the same fucking journey. Yeah, I mean, it's about time these background characters became fully fleshed out characters. Especially Sam. I feel like Sam's gotten real shafted.
Yeah.
Through this whole thing.
I guess we'll have to wait and see how it's going to turn out, right? It's almost here anyway, so we'll watch it. Rumors are swirling at Lucasfilm that they are not looking to recast the role of Cara Dune, and that they plan to replace the role with Hera Syndulla, Peter's favorite character in the show Rangers of the New Republic.
Yep. Yeah.
Obi-Wan apparently is also rumored to be in the Cassian Andor TV show as an appearance of some sort.
See, goddamn.
Ahsoka is apparently also going to be in Cassian Andor. Oh, and apparently I guess Ahsoka is going to be in Bad Batch too. Like this is the thing. Why have we completely just, thrown all common sense out the window? We don't need we don't need the exact same 6 Star Wars characters in every single Star Wars project spanning across the entire timeline. This is stupid and asinine.
They got it. It's Marvel. It's Marvel. You got to connect all the characters.
The difference with this is the timeline spans 100 years?
Yeah, and they're not superheroes. That's the whole point. Isn't that they team up? I don't want to go into my rant about what Star Wars is to me. Our discussion earlier about, the correct things to be mad at. This is one of those things that is just, I don't think is worth getting mad at. But I do get mad.
You see? I told you.
It's the one thing. And I know it's silly and I know it's dumb, but it's just oh my God. It's everything, because I feel like it's like the universe going pointing me out specifically, saying fuck you.
Yeah.
Because it's everything I never wanted Star Wars to be, and then that's just kind of what it is now. And it sucks. It does. But at this point, at the very least, I can at least go I've made peace with it, I guess. After The Mandalorian, after that last season of The Mandalorian, I was able to go yeah, I'm done. This isn't for me. Even the shows, I'm not gonna watch the Rangers of the New Republic. I'm not gonna watch the Ahsoka show. I'm not gonna watch any of them. I know I'm gonna be really disappointed with that Obi-Wan show.
The rematch of the century with the
fuck me, dude. And it's crazy. I could have swore I saw a fan-made trailer for an Obi-Wan show or an Obi-Wan movie, and I felt like it hit the tone so much better than I know this show is gonna be. Because I feel like this show, again, it's the kind of thing that Star Wars just isn't allowed to be.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you want to be a universe, then you have to allow these different projects to be their own thing. They can't all be the same thing, but they are becoming all the same thing.
They don't all have to be interconnected. And you'd think that, and we've had this issue with Marvel Studios. Not everything has to be interconnected. With WandaVision, it seems like perhaps they are not being so insistent on it all connecting on things based on current appearances. However, with Lucasfilm, we've reached the point where nothing can be original. We can't even have new characters anymore without having legacy characters to be forced in there to act as some kind of, I don't know, inflatable device to make sure they stay afloat and keep the interest of people. Because otherwise, it feels like there's this mentality in Lucasfilm, we can't get people interested in new characters unless they have some old characters there to make the people at home care about them.
But then the old characters eventually just take over the new characters.
Yeah.
Or the new characters are just blatant ripoffs of the old characters.
Yeah.
None of the new characters are interesting in the fucking Mandalorian. Cara Dune, let's be real. What was she as a character? She's tough girl. She's tough. That was it. There was nothing to her. No, I don't care about it. To me, again, if that Rian Johnson trilogy ever ends up happening, I'll be there. But until then, none of this makes me care. How what's the point of having different shows if it's all going to be the same thing? Why have Rangers of the New Republic and the other one, the Rogue One.
Rogue Squadron. Oh, you mean the
No.
Cassian Andor show?
No, but I agree. All three of those are the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
Why? What's the point?
Money.
They're all the same, and I guarantee you, fucking Harrison Dula will be in Rogue Squadron, or fuck him and what's his name, the main character, from Rogue One. Fuck.
Andor?
Cassian Andor.
Yeah.
He'll probably be in Rogue Squadron too. I don't know. You know what? The fans love it. I don't. I'm glad they're happy. Whatever.
Yeah, that's all the small news we have this week. Let's go ahead and move on. So awards season is now officially underway. The Globes had their telecast a few days ago. And I have here the list of the winners and everything. Nomadland wins Best Picture Drama and Best Director for Chloe Zhao. She's the second woman to win in 78 years this director category.
That's crazy.
And is the first woman of color to win Best Director. Insane.
Yeah, I feel like movie directing is such a big boys club.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty sad because...
But then again, so is Hollywood, and then so is the Academy Awards, and so is all of these institutions that have them.
So is everything. Yeah. So is society. This was the Joker was a feminist film. That's what a lot of people didn't understand.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah.
That's fun. Yay. I'll never forgive them for giving that movie 2 Oscars, but okay, great. So
one of those was deserved.
They were, yes, I agree. They were deserved, but I'm not happy about it, so.
Okay.
That's how I am. Like, you can definitely say perhaps the makeup in Suicide Squad was deserving of an Academy Award, but I'm not going to be happy about it.
I wouldn't even go that far, but okay.
I mean, you didn't you say that at some point, I think. I'm sure you said a bunch of things you don't mean anymore, so we'll just move on. Anyway, what this means is Nomadland has solidified itself as the front runner for Best Picture. I think Peter and I have both said in our last episode, if this does end up winning Best Picture, and even especially Best Director, I think this is the film to go with. I would be happy if this one won the award ultimately.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I am surprised they didn't go with Trial of Chicago 7. That movie just seems so up their alley.
Yeah, it seems very much maybe not diverse enough behind the screen.
We'll get to that. I think there's a lot of people that are trying to piece together a lot of the winners in light of recent controversies that I'll get into. But yeah, I think that maybe that played a part in it. Borat subsequent movie film wins Best Picture Comedy and Best Comedy Actor for Sacha Baron Cohen. Neat. Yeah. Maria Bakalova did not win. I think she probably deserved it more, unfortunately, for her. You know,
who did win?
Maria Bakalova, the supporting...
No, but who did win?
Who did win? I think it was Rosamund Pike for I Care a Lot, the Netflix movie that just came out.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah. We might talk about that.
I probably should have brought that up in the things that I've seen. Oh, well.
Yeah. You forget a lot, it seems.
Yeah.
Or maybe
dementia.
Yeah. Ultimately, I feel like Palm Springs should have had more of a reaction, more of I guess, an impact on here. Kristen Milotti was not nominated, from Palm Springs, and she was really good.
I feel that, well, it's a comedy. It's not the right kind. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But Borat is the political kind.
Shit going in there. There's a lot of things working against it, and maybe I could have seen it if they had done it like 2 months ago. But then a bunch of good shit came out.
Andra Day is surprised. She won Best Actress Drama. Nobody was expecting her to win. For the United States versus Billie Holiday. Everybody was pegging Carey Mulligan from Promising Young Woman to win. So I was sad for her because I think Carey Mulligan deserved it. But Andra Day evidently is in this race now. So
Who is she?
Andra Day, she's new to acting. She was a pop star.
But what did she do?
So the United States versus Billie Holiday. It's on Hulu right now.
Okay.
So yeah. Chadwick Boseman wins Best Actor Drama for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. No one really was really surprised. It seems like this is a slam dunk.
I think he could have went on stage and farted for 2 hours. You know, this is let's be real. This is about celebrating his life.
Yeah.
And I'm totally okay with it.
Yeah. I just wished I was a little bit more
enthusiastic about
well, I am enthusiastic about him. I just wished I was more wowed by that last performance. I honestly don't see what people are saying about that performance. I thought it was really good, but I thought Anthony Hopkins was better. And he's never won a competitive Oscar. I mean, competitive Globe, it seemed like. So, but again, I don't care. These mean nothing, and it's about celebrating him, Boseman in particular. So I get it. So
my love of celebrating Boseman overrides any other issues.
yeah, especially when these are just awards. We mentioned Rosamund Pike won for I Care a Lot. This is actually surprising. I'm really happy. The first award of the night, Daniel Kaluuya wins Best Supporting Actor for Judas and the Black Messiah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Best Supporting. Okay.
Well, remember they submitted him for supporting because they don't want to go up against Chadwick Boseman and lead. So that's why,
But also, I can see that it is Judas,
right,
and the Black Messiah.
Yeah, you can make an argument on both cases, right? Whether it be in that situation. We're going to get to it later on with One Night in Miami, but Kingsley Benadir, who plays Malcolm X in that movie, I think is probably the unsung hero of this award season. He's not getting any nominations for that role. I thought he was really great.
Really?
I thought
he was really
great.
Good.
Yeah. The one who's the one from that movie that's getting who is being included in these categories is Leslie Odom Jr., who is also really good in that movie, You know
what? And I knew I was right back when I said this. I was, by the time that film ended, I guess this is kind of spoiling the review a little bit. I was like, this guy's fucking good. I know him from somewhere.
You didn't know he was from Hamilton?
Really good. No, but then I remembered. Oh my God, he's the one guy that fucking blew me away at Hamilton.
Yeah.
Because I remember Hamilton, you know know what? I enjoyed Hamilton. I had some mixed feelings, but he was the guy where I'm like, fuck, he's good. Yeah. And then he's like, he needs to be, he's going to blow up hard because I think he's really good.
Well, I mean, he's not necessarily out of the running, but I mean, he's going to be nominated for Best Supporting Actor at the Academy Award for this
But
movie.
I mean, his career in general.
You're right. No, you're right. Yeah. No, he's basically on the rise, on the ascent, as they say. But yeah, good for Daniel Kaluuya. He deserves it. Hopefully he wins overall. And it was a great film too, and it should be getting more recognition.
I forgot that he was like, is he British?
Yes.
He has
yes, he is.
A thick accent too, and I completely forgot because I saw an interview with him the other day. He's like, like I can't do the accent, but he was doing the thick accent. I'm like, oh, that's right. Because everything I've seen him in has been like American.
It feels like you feel a little betrayed when you realize an actor you like is British.
It's like the Skrulls. It's my own personal secret invasion.
Okay. Right. Before we move on, what have you made of the fact that the entire guilds have completely just not include, like, Da 5 Bloods, the Spike Lee film that we reviewed a few months back, has been getting in there for nominations, I think mostly for Best Picture. Chadwick Boseman was nominated for Best Supporting Actor in some of these guilds. But Delroy Lindo has been getting snubbed across the place. He gave an amazing performance in that movie.
Yeah. maybe, and it sucks that this happens sometimes. It's the time that it was released.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's been such a while, and now there are these new shiny, good films coming out that grab people's attention, and they create buzz. So then when the Academy or the voters go and vote, they're like, they go by the buzz that's been in their ear recently.
Which is another reason why they're all full of shit, really, at the end of the day. It's just like, oh, it's
that's
the
why
popular thing.
I don't really get mad about who wins or loses.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, they're so full of shit, all of them.
Aaron Sorkin wins, I think, his 3rd Globe for Best Screenplay for The Trial of Chicago 7.
They love some Aaron Sorkin. But I do too.
Yeah, he's a great writer.
He's a really good writer. Yeah. Really, really good.
Soul, or as it was referred to as Sal by Morgan Tracy. Or was it Tracy Morgan? Was it Tracy Morgan or Morgan Tracy? I don't know. Soul wins too.
Tracy Morgan.
Tracy Morgan. Soul. He called it Sal by accident when he was reading the envelope. Sal wins.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he wins too. Soul wins 2 Globes for Best Animated Film and Best Original Score.
Neat.
Yeah, and Minari wins Best Foreign Language Film. I'll get the controversy on Minari. I'll get to in a bit, but it's cleared the bar. It won Best Foreign Language Film. I wonder if we're because there seems to be a lot of passion for that film. It's available right now on Amazon Prime. Peter and I will review that film as soon as we can. It's going to be on the schedule. I wonder if we're going to get into a place where it's going to be Minari versus Nomadland. Because I think Minari may have a hidden passion like Parasite did.
That would be interesting. I can see that for sure. Because right now, I don't know if I see any runner-ups.
Yeah, you thought it would be Trial of Chicago 7, but it seems like it's kind of not really...
It's not hitting
no,
as you think. Yeah.
Maybe Aaron Sorkin will win for screenplay, but nothing else, it seems like.
Oh, for sure. But it doesn't seem to be hitting in the other. No Man Land seemed to pretty easily take the cake. So I don't know. But I mean, again, these issues with race that might elevate some other film,
right?
So I don't know. Maybe Judas and the Black Messiah. I still feel that film's maybe a little too militant for
them,
the Academy. Yeah, I don't know.
All right. Let's move on to television. This is actually pretty exciting. The Crown wins Best Drama Series, and it also won Best Drama Actress for Emma Corrin.
You said this would be exciting.
I'm sorry?
You said this would be exciting.
For me.
Oh, okay.
I said for me.
Continue. Oh, okay.
Best Supporting Actress for Gillian Anderson. Best Actor for Josh O'Connor. I love this show. I love this season. I love that it swept everything. So, yay me. And yay Alexis Moreno. Go listen to our reviews of The Crown.
I will say, not The Crown, but there's other films and television shows where it's like, I should hate this. It's kind of just a celebration of kind of everything I hate. Because it's all about like the decadence and, these rich,
It's really not that,
snobby. I know. Just let me finish. But there are films and shows like that. Of I don't know what century this was, like the 1800s or something. They shouldn't appeal to me, I feel, but a lot of them I do end up liking, and I get into the interpoliticalness of the families, and sometimes there's power struggles. Who will marry who?
Little Women.
Little Woman, yeah, Little Woman's one of them. Yeah, where it's like, but they're more probably middle class, I would say. But there's other ones where they're like, welcome to the vineyard. Sir, whatever.
Schitt's Creek won for Best Comedy Series and also for Catherine O'Hara for Best Actress. No surprise there.
She's still sweeping them up.
She's still sweeping them up, yeah.
Okay.
And we're all happy about it.
I like we're all Was that a demand? And we're all happy about it.
I was just stating the facts.
Okay.
This is one I didn't see, but everyone else did. The Queen's Gambit wins Best Limited Series, and Anya Taylor-Joy for Best Actress for that show. Or movie.
I really like Anya Taylor-Joy. You remember, she's another one where I remember when she was on the come up, I was like, watch out for her. She's going to be fucking awesome. And she is. So, yeah, no, good for her.
Jason Sudeikis, we just talked about him. He wins Best Comedy Actor for Ted Lasso.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've seen the first 2 episodes of Ted Lasso. He's very good. He's very, very good. I can tell it's going to be one of those characters that's going to steal my heart. Just off the bat from those first 2 episodes. He is charming as hell.
I know this is a dumb question, but have you ever seen Barry? It's an HBO show.
Oh, that one. I thought I was thinking Obama because they.
Oh yeah. Oh, there was a show or a movie, something Barry
with Bill Hader. I have not. No, I haven't. Okay. But people love that show.
It's not. Oh, it's a very dark comedy.
It seems that way. Yeah.
Yeah, but Bill Hader is great.
He's
another one of those.
Is the show?
He's like he could get an Oscar at any moment if he wanted. I feel. Go ahead.
Is the show on hiatus?
Probably.
Because I haven't heard about it in a while.
Because of COVID. But I think the first 2 seasons, if I remember correctly.
Overall, though, I was disappointed that Promising Young Woman was completely snubbed. I think it was one of my favorite movies of 2020. We're going to have a review for it in a few weeks. I think this month. And I certainly hope that Carey Mulligan gets back on the bus because I think she was really great in that film. But overall, interesting. I think overall it was a good crop of winners as far as that's concerned. I want to say they do a really good job of, they have 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards. They have the Cecil B. DeMille Award for movies and they have the Carol Burnett Award for television. Mm-hmm. And so the Cecil B. DeMille Award went to Jane Fonda and the Carol Burnett Award went to Norman Lear. I saw both of their speeches and even, in the setting that it was, from a monitor, basically everybody was zooming into the award show. Both of them had really, I felt, powerful speeches. Norman Lear in particular, he even said in his speech, there was just something so wise to him. He's almost 99 years old. And they're just sitting on his chair.
That's crazy how old he is.
And working to this day. Working in television in this day. Almost 99. There was a cutaway to Jason Sudeikis who was on the Zoom wall or something. And he was just, I think the camera caught him mouthing the words, "Oh my God, he's 99." When he said that. But it was actually a really, wholesome speech that he gave. And to me, those are always the highlights of these shows when, especially with people who actually deserve these awards. Like, good for them and good for him too. 99. Holy crap. But I think it was kind of a cringe fest all night long because they have to be reminding everybody at home that's watching this show that it is a corrupt organization and seemingly a racist one too. Because you had to have basically the HFPA, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, that is, the organization I'm talking about. They had to literally go up on stage and apologize for not having any black people in their club. And even their own winners having to be repeatedly called out for that. And there were even suspicions that perhaps some of the winners wouldn't have won if it weren't for the backlash of this controversy. Let me explain what happened. So first of all, this kind of really started with the HFPA when they gave out the nominations, right? And what people were noticing was that they really omitted in the Best Picture category every single black ensemble film. all of the ones that are in contention for awards were not nominated. And that includes One Night in Miami, To Five Bloods, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and Judas and the Black Messiah. Literally all of the black ensemble films were not included in Best Picture Drama.
One Night in Miami is it sells itself as an ensemble, so that's pretty yikesy.
Yeah. Then the HFPA was accused as racist for refusing the Korean ensemble-led film Minari the chance to compete for Best Picture Drama, and they sent it off to the Best Foreign Language Film category because the language most spoken in the film was Korean. Even though it's an American-made movie, it was sent off to compete, for Best Foreign Language Film when they were trying to get it in for Best Drama. So that's another thing where they literally took another film that primarily featured people of color and they literally banished it off to Best Foreign Language Film instead of allowing it to compete for the Best Picture category. So that's, yikes, that's just not a good look on top of not a good look here.
They keep doing this, right? Like, does foreign language film literally mean the people don't speak English for the most of the film? To me, whenever I thought foreign film, I thought it was like
foreign made movie
in a foreign made movie,
yeah.
Right? So it was specific, like to me, Parasite. That's clearly
which is why the Academy
movie,
Awards
right?
recently changed it. Their version of this award, they changed it from Best Foreign Language Film to Best International Film. They changed the name of that category.
Okay.
Because of the whole controversy with The Farewell from last year, I think.
That definitely makes more sense because if it's just like non-English, that's kind of a weird, like, who cares, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm weird, but like I don't care if a film is in French or Spanish or that's a weird way to award in a film.
It's a weird category to have.
The best. Yeah, that's why because it's so weird, I always assumed it just meant like foreign film made by a country not the United States. But if you literally mean it's just if you don't speak English most of the time, I mean, could Avatar have been nominated? They speak Na'vi most of the time.
But they always play fast and loose with these rules because look at what happened here. Right? They also, at the same time, they also allowed basically what's a concert movie, Hamilton, the Disney Plus version, to compete for Best Picture comedy. They allowed that to compete for Best Picture, but they didn't allow Minari to compete for Best Picture. It's just a bad look for them. So
yeah.
Then the news got out that the 87-member HFPA has not one single black member, and Variety reported they've had no black members in at least 20 years.
Fuck. Okay, I didn't know it's been 20 years. Like, I knew they didn't have one currently.
Yeah.
But that they haven't had one in 20 fucking years? I mean, this whole awards show is just a scam to get awesome parties with A+ celebs.
Yeah,
but at least while you're scamming, at least be inclusive about it. That's pretty bad.
No, it's awful. And in fact, there was also another scandal that hit them in recent weeks, a corruption scandal where, it didn't seem all that corrupt from Golden Globe standards because they've been out and proud about what they are for years. I mean, everybody knows what they are, and everybody jokes about it. Their own hosts that they hire joke about it. Tina Fey and Amy Poehler addressed the controversy. We all know award shows are stupid, Poehler said. The point is, even with stupid things, inclusivity is important, Tina Fey said.
Yeah. I think that's a really good way to put it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right on the money.
Yeah. just not a good look. Anyway, they happened, and we will keep an eye out for award season. It's a very elongated season. They just, we just got word earlier this day that we're recording that the Screen Actors Guild Award are not going to be airing until the 4th of April. That's a really long time from now. And then I think the Academy Awards is not going to air until the end of the month. So it's a pretty long season.
Then what's going to happen for 2022? Like, it's going to be pretty fucking close.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, let's get on to the reviews, shall we? Mr. Martinez, get your phone out on Letterboxd. We're going to start off with Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry recently...
Oh, fuck, I forgot we are going to review this. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched it. Didn't you?
Oh, God. Okay. Yeah, I did.
Hey, it's a big name. It's making its big debut on the screens and on HBO Max. It's like, I mean, we saw it, so we should talk about it. I mean,
I guess.
Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry, directed by Tim Story. God damn it, Tim Story. He's made a lot of movies. Yeah, okay. Best of enemies, worst of friends. One of the most beloved rivalries in history is reignited when Jerry moves into New York City's finest hotel on the eve of the wedding of the century, forcing Kayla, the event's desperate planner, to hire Tom to get rid of him. The ensuing cat-and-mouse battle threatens to destroy her career, the wedding, and possibly the hotel itself. But soon, an even bigger problem arises, a diabolically ambitious staffer conspiring against all three of them. An eye-popping blend of classic animation and live action, Tom and Jerry's new big screen adventure stakes new ground for the iconic characters and forces them to do the unthinkable, work together to save the day.
That description really glossed it up, didn't it?
It's so long. It's funny because other films, it's like, a man and a woman married. Like, that's the whole description, right? And then this one, it's fucking a big-ass paragraph. And it stars Tom and Jerry.
Chloe Grace Moretz, Colin Jost, Michael Pena,
T-Pain, Nicky Jam, Bobby Cannavale, Lil Ray Howery. Yeah. I love Tom and Jerry, the classic cartoons. I grew up on that shit. That I did Cartoon Network. Cartoon Network used to have like big old marathons of Tom and Jerry, and
Tom and Jerry and the Looney Tunes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that was my shit. That was so funny to me. I love Tom and Jerry. So even knowing the way these things go, when I saw they're making a Tom and Jerry movie, there was a part of me that's like, okay, let's see. All my hopes were destroyed the second that the movie started and you had pigeons rapping. And it went on for fucking ever. I think it was like the whole song. Just immediately, cartoon pigeons rapping. How edgy. And then immediately I'm like, okay. All hope gone. I know what this is. I know exactly what this is. It's a bad film. It's very, very bad. I think I hated it just because they did this to Tom and Jerry, and they've done it to other cartoon characters, but they've done it to cartoon characters I just don't give that much of a shit about.
The Smurfs?
Like the Smurfs,
Alvin the
Chipmunks. Yeah. They're fine, but they were never, this whole big thing for me. But Tom and Jerry, I love Tom and Jerry. So This movie fucking sucked. I mean, I guess we could get into why, but I want to hear what you think.
I'm not gonna disagree with you on the quality of the film.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't walk away from it angry. I didn't walk away with me hating it. I thought it was okay.
The movie was kind enough right up front to let you know what it was.
It was, yeah.
I'll give it that.
Yeah, you honestly, I thought it was just me, but it seems like everyone was like on the same train where it's like when those rapping pigeons came, I was like, oh no. Okay. Well, all right. I mean, listen. My expectations for this movie were below the floor before those pigeons even arrived. So when they started singing, they plummeted to like the center of the earth. That's how low my expectations were.
Well, the thing that kind of made me go like, maybe will be good was that I thought the animation was neat.
Yeah.
To a certain level, you know, it wasn't Alvin and the Chipmunks.
It wasn't the Smurfs. It was more Pokemon.
Where it wasn't
Detective Pikachu. You know, it was more like Sonic the Hedgehog kind of a thing.
It wasn't these weird. They didn't try and make a realistic looking Tom.
Yeah.
You know, in like a real mouse as Jerry. They didn't do that shit. Which, if this was made in the era it seems to want to be in, which is like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Because fuck, does this movie still think it's 2002? This
felt like a throwback, man. This felt like a movie we would have gotten like this honestly feels like the movie we would have gotten in that decade with the Smurfs, with Alvin the Chipmunks, with that horrible live action Cat in the Hat movie with
Don't talk bad about Cat in the Hat. That one's a classic. It is so unbelievably insane. That film at least had the balls to just lose its fucking mind.
Well, that's true.
You have to give it that.
I remember, let me tell you something. I remember at that age, I still wasn't at the point where like, oh, movies are bad. Like most movies are good or great. That one, I think I saw it in a theater and I was like, wow, this is kind of okay.
It felt like a break in the Matrix, didn't it?
Yeah.
What is happening?
Yeah. That one was strange.
Again, this is you know what? This is example number 3,562 that I am not a movie snob, because there are still so many moments in that film that make me laugh. They probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
But they do.
Yeah, like, and I feel that way too. Like, you know, in the years that we've been doing this podcast, that like, I have been getting more and more into like different things and different kind of stories. Yeah, I didn't hate this movie. In fact, I actually was quite...
Tom and Jerry?
Yeah, I was kind of entertained by it. And again, my expectations were like unbelievably low. And it's not good. It's honestly, there's so many flaws to the film. But you know what really did it for me? I don't know. I like seeing nice hotels. I like seeing nice hotels. I like Colin Jost. I really like Chloe Grace Moretz. Tom and Jerry, I haven't seen them in 15 years. I used to like them a lot, and it was nice to see their faces again. It was like a low rental. I don't know. It was fine. It was like a nice an hour and a half, and then I don't have to think about it afterward. It's one of those films. But I mean, it's very lowbrow. It's very like appealing to the common denominator, and it's like, I mean, there really isn't a better way to exemplify what this movie is than the rapping pigeons, because what was that? They're
not even part of the movie. It's just like, it literally just seemed like, whoa, like we have a checklist for shitty family film early 2000s, and one of them is we need a cutesy character to rap, because for some reason that's funny. I don't like, it felt really outdated in the worst ways possible.
Yes, yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
Like there's a reason, because sometimes you see a movie and it feels outdated, and it's in a good way.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we haven't got one of these kinds of films in a while.
Mhm.
I see this film. It's like, no, there's a reason why we've moved past this. There's a very good
We need to
reason.
do a podcast one of these days. Just like looking back at that decade, the 2000s, it was a really experimental decade in film and television for a lot of reasons. I guess to me, why I wasn't so angry with it, because it did kind of take me back to those years a little bit, because like it did feel like a movie that was straight out of that decade.
There's probably a certain level of comfort to it.
There isn't much to say about it. It felt like to me like even I can't say low budget, because the animation did have money thrown at it, and you have like these big stars that are in the film. It just reminds me of one of those movies I would have seen on a weekend on Cartoon Network, with just the bare minimum being thrown at it. And it was like the fact that it got made was a success in and of itself. That's how those movies are usually looked as, TV movies on Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network.
Being honest, this feels like we were talking about the Drake Bell live action Fairly Odd Parents movie. Like, this feels like that. I could have, obviously with worse animation, but I could see this have premiering on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom looks like Tom, Jerry looks like Jerry. They don't talk. They do get into fights, but it's never. There's such an art to those battles back in the day.
Yeah.
It really, it wasn't just hitting each other. There was real artistry into. I know it sounds like I'm being a snob about fucking Tom and Jerry cartoons, but it's true.
But those
right?
are classics, man. That's high entertainment. That's art. Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry are legends. What do you mean?
It was the same with the Looney Tunes cartoons, right? Like
Yes.
there's something, the way that their confrontations are sort of planned out, and it's like a really well choreographed dance, right? It's not just dancing, there I think there's a difference between just moving and like an extremely well choreographed dance, right? And I feel they obviously didn't really have that here. It just felt like hit, and it didn't have that creativity that really went into those originals. And also Jerry, he's a little bit more of an asshole than he was back then.
I noticed that too. Yeah.
I think because the whole Jerry was an asshole, but he was acceptable as an asshole because Tom was trying to eat him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like Tom would try and eat him and get, fucking attack him. Jerry would outwit him and fuck with him. And then so it's like you laugh at their back and forth. But here, it just seems like Tom's just whatever. Like he's trying to get away from Jerry, and then Jerry comes and just fucks with him. So it just kind of means like, fuck, like they kind of mess up the dynamic, I feel, but between the two. The whole point of the cat trying to get the mouse is because the cat wants to eat the mouse. So yeah, I don't know. It's a bad movie.
Yeah.
If you can imagine in your head that early 2000s live action kid family film to a T, this is what that is. To a fucking T. They check off every box for those films. Yeah. You know what? The only time it worked, and I just kind of smirked, like, hey, yeah, like this, because it works in tandem with the old cartoons, is when he sees the cat that he has the hots for.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's singing all smoothly on the piano. Because that's a classic Tom movie.
Yeah.
He can't talk, but all of a sudden
He can sing.
he's trying to all of a sudden he sings all beautifully and stuff like that. But that's the only time that's sort of like modern, because it was a modern-ish song. I can't remember what it was. But that's the only time that kind of worked. Everything else just fucking kill me.
I think the most interesting thing about this conversation with Tom and Jerry is just, this whole genre of these live action / animation hybrid films, in particular the ones that are based off old classic cartoons. And we've listed off, I think, a number of them. There was Sonic and the Hedgehog last year. I think that got much better reviews and it was much better received by the public. I haven't seen it yet, but it's on Hulu for those that want to see it. And then there's also the ones that we mentioned that were, far less positively received, like Alvin and the Chipmunks, even though they made 4 fucking movies.
They made 4 of those.
They made 4 of those. They made 2 Smurfs. But I think, like, the ones that worked best for me, one is critically acclaimed. The other one was really despised, although I really always kind of loved it. So the shining example is obviously Who Framed Roger Rabbit,
for sure,
from '89. But then there's also Looney Tunes Back in Action from 2003.
That one, you know what, that one works too.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you're missing the obvious one with Space Jam.
Well, I don't like sports, dude. Like, I probably avoided it because I had basketball in it, so I was like, no, thank you.
Wait, have you never seen Space Jam?
I've seen it, but I don't remember. It's one of those movies where I've seen it, I just didn't care to remember the details, so it's like, it's basic.
I mean, I've never cared about basketball, but I was all about Space Jam. Kambona Slave.
Hey, I'm watching Ted Lasso now, and it's about a sport, so I'm growing here. I'm growing.
You're growing. There's growth.
Yeah.
But no, Looney Tunes Back in Action is really cool. And I feel like if that had come out today, people would have, it would have gotten a lot of love.
That movie was trashed when it came out by the critics.
Really?
Yeah, dude. It was a box office bomb, too.
Oh, my God. That's what I mean, though. I feel like if it had come out today, people would really dig it. I think they would.
I can't explain it to you again. Like, I did, again, it was 2003. I did see it when I was a kid, but even years later, I haven't seen it like recently. But I remember it pretty good for what it is,
Yeah, for what it was. I thought it worked well. Maybe that can be an episode. We'll watch the greats, the live action cartoon movies. I can't think of. That's the only ones I can think of is Space Jam, Looney Tunes Back in Action, and then of course Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
And we're talking about the ones that are based off old classic cartoons. There are other movies out there that incorporate a hybrid of animation and live action. The one that I really liked was Enchanted with what's her name, Amy Adams.
Oh yeah, technically, doesn't really though.
Does it really what?
I don't think that counts.
No, I don't think it counts. Not in this category, but it's a hybrid movie. But I think that was good.
It's not, though, because to me, a hybrid is
you're
animated
right. Yeah.
interacting with live action.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. But, see, that's the thing, though. They've gotten that sort of genre has gotten a bad rap, but I think it's really cool. Yeah. I really like it.
But they had 2 recent examples that I think were moderate successes. There was in this not this decade, but in recent years, there was Sonic the Hedgehog, but then also Detective Pikachu, which I saw that one. That was pretty good.
Yeah. I saw it too. It was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It wasn't bad. It was much better than Tom and Jerry.
It was much better. Yeah. But no, right? Like, you obviously never get it with Disney, because I just don't think that's Disney's thing. But I feel if you just don't follow the early 2000s formula and just fucking treat it like a film and not like a gimmick, I think that's where it works. Or at least have fun with the gimmick. I feel like Looney Tunes Back in Action had a lot of fun with the gimmick.
It did, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a whole genre of movies that I really enjoyed from the 2000s that were really trashed that decade. We just reviewed one called The Majestic onto the table.
But you only recently like it.
Yeah, but it's from the 2000s. So that's Tom and Jerry. Don't watch it, probably, but if you're curious enough, I guess check it out. I didn't hate it. Peter seemingly did, but overall, it really comes down to indifference. Well, let's move on to The Sound of Metal. This movie is currently streaming on Amazon Prime, and it is currently one of the films that is, in consideration for awards. One of the actors from this film has been consistently nominated for Best Actor amongst the awards guilds. Peter, do you have the synopsis for The Sound of Metal?
Hold on. I keep getting... I don't think it's The Sound of Metal. I think it's just Sound of Metal.
Yeah, it is Sound of Metal.
God damn it, you fucked me up because I kept putting the... Okay, Sound of Metal. Directed by Darius Marder. Music was his world, then silence revealed a new one. A drummer begins to lose his hearing and has to come to grips with the future that will be filled with silence. That's what I mean, like one sentence, boom. There, and then that was it.
That was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Letterboxd we're talking about, by the way, people. This is the one we always use. But it's so weird how some film, fucking Tom and Jerry got a big old paragraph. And this one's like, oh, he's losing his hearing. He's got to deal with it. Like, okay. Cast: Riz Ahmed, Olivia Cook, Paul Raci, Paul Raci, Lauren Ridloff, Matthew Almeric, and then so on and so forth. What'd you think of the film, Mr. Moreno?
I thought it was a really strong film. And I go off a lot on feelings, and this made me feel just very sad. It's one of those films. It's a story about someone who is a musician and he's losing his hearing. And again, sometimes you're not really in the mood for that kind of a story. So, I try not to let that affect my judgment of how I feel about the film, because I think overall I have a fairly positive feeling about the movie. I think Riz Ahmed is a great actor. I think he always has been a great actor. I think I remember him first. I saw him in Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal. It was a really great film, by the way, if you haven't seen it. And he was really good in that one as well. He got a big break with Rogue One, where he didn't do much of anything, but he was there. I like Riz Ahmed as an actor, and I think this really kind of solidifies the talent that he is. He is... it's a powerhouse in this performance. It's kind of this story of this man just trying to get to that place of acceptance that this is his life now, but yet fighting it every step of the way and trying to find a way out of the predicament that he's been dealt with. It's one of those movies that makes you think, man, this happens to people. And I don't know, it's just another reminder of how life is just so fucking cruel and unfair, and yet at the same time, also hopeful too, because then you learn about, pockets and these communities that are formed with people who share this disability and how they've been able to overcome and how they've been able to persevere. And ultimately, Riz Ahmed is on this journey. He doesn't know he's on it, but he's on this journey to find a way where he can have some kind of peace. And I think what really made the movie was the ending. I think the ending was just a really perfect, beautiful ending overall. That is just that, peace. And so I can definitely understand why people are loving this film. I thought it was great. Do I love it? It's not going to be... I don't love it in the sense that I'm going to watch it every year. I'm going to get excited to watch a story about somebody who's basically going through this predicament. But overall, I think it's just a really solid movie. Peter?
Yeah, I would agree. It's a film that I think even more so than just being about being deaf or losing your hearing. It's about not being able to turn back time. You know, there are moments in your life that happen and then they're gone. And I feel like the him losing his hearing is sort of just a way to convey that message, you know? And then that kind of gets wrapped up into him with his relationship with what's her name? I forgot. So the difficulties, right, of just accepting that. I thought Riz Ahmed gave a really good performance. I really like him too. I think he's great. I really like I think it's Olivia Cook, the
girlfriend,
the actress. Yeah, Lou. I really like her, the actress. I think she's really, really cool. I've seen her in a lot of things, and she's always good. For me, it's a really good film, but I agree. It's not one I think I would ever come back and watch again, because it's one of those where I watch it and I'm really glad that I watched it and I enjoyed it, but it's like I got it. Like I don't I don't think I want to revisit it. And then just kind of as negative, I feel like the beginning of the film was really strong and I really enjoyed it and it hooked me. And I really loved the ending. I thought the ending hit hard and was impactful and powerful. But I wasn't as crazy about the middle. The middle part, I'll admit, kind of lost me a bit. And it was a bit, I don't want to say uneventful, but it just kind of, it feels like there was so much going on with the beginning and so much going on with the end. And then the middle, I understand what they were doing and why they were doing it, but I don't know. It just didn't capture me the same way that the beginning and the end did. What do you... Yeah.
No, I can understand that. The middle section of this movie is, focusing on what I had mentioned, this pocket community of deaf people who are, living with each other. And from that standpoint, I appreciated it, not from, how the film was structured, but also it was, quasi-educational. It's just something I didn't really know was out there like that. And it was just really interesting to see, Riz Ahmed learn about all these things for the first time. And, it's interesting because it's, when you're in the middle of the movie, you kind of begin to feel like he's settling in. He's beginning, at least from the outward appearance, like he's kind of like setting into this place. But then there are turns that happen and he still has this thought lingering in the back of his mind about a very expensive procedure that is, mentioned throughout the film that he could have to restore some of his hearing. And there's some moments that occur through that. I mean, I didn't even know that was a thing, this operation or this surgery that could save some of the hearing. Although, and I thought about it from the first time it was mentioned, because when you see that, when, they tell him that his hearing is going away, and they mention, casually, that there are other options out there, I can read people pretty clearly, and it to me, it was pretty obvious that surgery wasn't going to be
a quick fix.
Well, it wasn't going to be a fix at all. At least it was like table scraps is what I, got off of the doctor, but that clearly isn't what Riz Ahmed got off of. Like, you think he was expecting like a miracle, basically.
Full, yeah.
And go ahead.
But I think, again, the reason why he wants that miracle is because he wants to get back to that life that he had with him and Lou doing the thing they both love, touring. It was like, there's his dream life, and I feel if he didn't have that, just wanting to turn back time to go back to that, he would have accepted his place in the community. He wouldn't have been thinking about getting that whole thing. But I think that's why the film to me is about that, just learning to accept that you can't turn back the clock, and that's because that's where he's left at the end, right? Like, he realizes, like, they're just in different places now.
Yeah.
And they can't be together. And once he accepts that is when he's able to do what he had not been able to do before, which is to sit down in the middle of, all this noise and just be calm and find peace. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Also appropriate, we just got a message from Kyle Lira. He has a tease for us for the next Fantasy Fair. This is his tease. Get ready to hear the word dildo. That's how he is enticing people to listen to the podcast. So, in case you were interested.
I wouldn't recommend listening to it.
There was
this
that
podcast and that podcast have bad blood, so pick a side.
Overall, yeah, there really isn't much to say with Sound of Metal. Paul Raci was good. It was very good. That's really it. I can't say much more. I enjoyed it. Thought it was good. But it's not one that's really, I think, living with me. It's not staying with me. There are other movies that I've seen around this time that, stay with me long after watching it, and this just isn't one of them. So, but it's available to stream on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, check it out. It is good.
So next we have One Night in Miami, also streaming on Amazon Prime. Do you have?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
One Night in Miami. ... Directed by Regina King. 4 legends, one legendary night. In the aftermath of Cassius Clay's defeat of Sonny Liston in 1964, the boxer meets with Malcolm X, Sam Cooke, and Jim Brown to change the course of history in the segregated South.
That sentence was worded a little weirdly, wasn't it? Cassius Clay's defeat? Shouldn't it be Cassius Clay's victory?
Yeah, it's weird. That's the way it was worded.
Yeah. What the hell, Letterbox? Okay. That was strange.
They're slipping a little bit. Starring Kingsley Ben-Adir. Ellie Gorey. Aldous Hodge. Leslie Oldham Jr., Lance Reddick, Christian Magby, and then so on and so forth. Yeah. How'd you feel, old buddy, old pal?
Well, some of these actors we've seen before. We just mentioned Leslie Odom Jr. From Hamilton. I've never seen Kingsley Ben-Adir in something else, not that I can think of before. But I do think that the guy that plays Jim Brown, Aldous Hodge, we've seen on several previous projects. I think he was in The Invisible Man.
Yes.
And then
that's directly where I remember him for.
Mm-hmm. I thought this was a great movie. This is Regina King's directorial debut. She's, by the way, you don't know Regina King, she's primarily an actor.
You should.
Yeah, she's a great actor. I think she recently won an Emmy for Watchmen, I think, last year. And then she also won an Oscar for If Beale Street Could Talk, which is also a gorgeous film, too, if you want to check that one out. And yeah, as far as like directorial debuts go, I thought this was fairly solid. Like this is somebody who has got it going on, it seems like. And this film is an interesting structure. It's another one of these, I believe. Oh, geez. What was his name?
Structured like a play.
Well, because it is a play. It very much is based off one by Kemp Powers. That's the one. Kemp Powers, who is the playwright for One Night in Miami, was also working on the film version. By the way, a connection to this with Soul, Kemp Powers, I think, also co-directed Soul and wrote the screenplay. Co-wrote the screenplay with Pete Docter for Soul. So good for Kemp Powers. I know that when Soul won the Golden Globe this past weekend, Pete Docter had he was holding up an iPad to the camera. It had a feed. Because Kemp Powers apparently was somewhere else, so he had Kemp Powers accept the award for them and everything. So
it's so ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
funny.
What can you do there? It's in. I hadn't gotten to what I felt yet, though.
You said you hated it, didn't
you? No.
Oh, okay.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
It's.
I was about to agree with you.
Okay.
Go ahead. Finish your thoughts.
I liked it a lot. I think the performances make the movie, and I'm not quite so sure if there's any particular message to the film. This is a movie where you have these four, I don't want to say famous people. These are icons. These are four icons who were apparently friends in real life. This movie is a fictional account, but in real life they were friends. And they come together and they basically are at a crossroads. They talk about what's going on in their careers, what's going on in life. And I'm not sure it's as much about any singular message as it is about just watching them talk. and it really is just them talking the entire movie. And I found it quite riveting. And I think these performances are kind of great, really, for the most part. So I enjoyed it really good. What the fuck? I enjoyed it really good. Yeah, I like really good movies. I enjoyed it. Peter.
I think it was very, very good.
Yeah.
I thought the directing, again, by Regina King, very good.
Yeah.
And I think, especially with these kind of films, you can tell where the directing really comes in play because the pacing, right? If it's just four people talking, they're just hanging out, you got to have really good pacing to not make it boring as fuck. Because it could easily just devolve into oh God, what am I watching? These people just talking? I don't care. Something happened, right? And I never felt that, right? I enjoyed the ride the whole time of just them hanging out, having their discussions. I liked when they would have sort of one-on-one side discussions with each other. And it's all their performances were really good.
Yeah.
Really, really good. If the film was about anything, I don't know if it's any one thing, but it's about discussing, it's these four icons, that big personalities, very different views, but all four black men during the civil rights movement. And it's just sort of this argument amongst themselves of, what are they obligated to do? What's the best way forward? What does it mean to be a successful black man in this, in this world at this time? And a lot of different things, right? And they go back and forth and argue, and it's very interesting. And I think the most fiery exchanges happen between Malcolm X and what's his name? Dang it, I messed up. Sam Cooke, Leslie Odom Jr. I really enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it more than I expected it to. I expected to come out going it was well made, but maybe got bored halfway through. But no, by the end, it hit me a little bit in the heart, and you understand their struggle of living in this world, wanting to be successful, wanting to do the right thing, not knowing, each of them just sort of trying to figure out what is the right direction, what brings about the best change. And I think I can connect with that, and just because that's what I think about sometimes.
Yeah. I think you're so right. It kind of reminded me of the conversations you and I have all the time about, like, are we doing enough, or the people in power doing enough? Like, what's the state of affairs and everything? And I don't know if we get as heated as they did in the movie any longer. Maybe at one point it did get very heated between us. But I don't think you and I have ever, like, seen things all that differently. Just the small things that we do disagree on is where we usually blow up at each other. Yes.
What?
Yes. No. I'm sorry. I'm just looking at the screen, and I'm figuring out if there's a lag or if you're just not hearing what I said and everything. But no, I definitely agree. Continue. You see.
I was trying to make him think it froze. I thought that was funny. No, like I said, Leslie Odom Jr., he is so good. He is amazing. Like, he is gonna win an Oscar any day now.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. He's gonna be on every project.
He's a great singer too.
The next, yeah. Oh yeah, he's the whole package, right?
Yeah.
He's young, good looking, great actor, great singer. Yeah. He's what is that called? I guess it's the whole package.
Triple threat, you mean?
Triple threat, yes. Sing, dance, act. Can do it all.
Yeah, that's a special kind of talent. No, I agree with you. Leslie Odom Jr. was great. He was great in Hamilton as well. He was great in this. He was perfect to play Sam Cooke. When the movie ends, he has a rendition of A Change Is Gonna Come. It's pretty great.
Rendition?
It was great.
Yeah, the actor, and again, I don't think he's in much of anything, but he did really good. Who played Malcolm X? Kingsley Ben Adir.
Mm-hmm.
He's good, and he has a lot of really good moments, and just like the mannerisms and his voice, the way he talks, it never comes off like a caricature.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Malcolm
really
X is a figure that's been portrayed in film many times. Perhaps the most iconic would be Denzel Washington, and so there's like a lot to live up to with this when anyone is playing Malcolm X, but it very much came off like Kingsley Ben-Adir was doing his own rendition of Malcolm X, and I think quite convincingly too. Like, he wasn't doing a Denzel impression, that's for sure. He was doing something else, but it felt authentic to who Malcolm X was.
But because it felt authentic, it felt cool when you saw him doing, just sort of acting in ways you never saw, Malcolm. Like, he's goofing around with his friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, oh wow, like, this is interesting.
He can't have fun.
Well, it turns these icons into humans.
Yeah.
Which they were, right? But you can forget that. So it makes them all the more interesting, and their discussions all the more interesting. And there's low points that he has, there's a moment where, like, he breaks down crying, and the reason why, it's like, oh my god, like, it worked. I think it worked so well for the discussion that we're having. I loved when he was trying to sort of make up with Sam Cooke, and he talks about the first time he saw him perform.
Yeah, that was a funny story.
That's a funny story, but the way it ended, emotionally, it resonated with me more than I thought this film would, because I really thought, like, it would be just more like it would start with them in a room, and they're talking back and forth and they're there and stuff, But the film's a lot more dynamic than that. It's still mostly just them in a room talking.
Yeah.
But I think I guess you can thank Regina King and her directing. It felt a lot. It felt to be a lot more than that. Yeah, no, I really dug it.
Yeah, and you also see, as with the era that it accompanies it, different faces of racism, right? You see Sam Cooke performing at the Copacabana that he's always wanted to play at, and then the audience, like, I always just like, it makes me so angry seeing these things. Like, I mean, at least the people that walked out, didn't entertain it, but like the people that were there were like, I mean, the cold shoulder is maybe an understatement. They were talking over him, and then they were glaring at him for like, how dare you even show up here and try and play one of our songs? Like, that's an insult to injury. That was,
oh my god. Well, the biggest thing to me that happened to Jim Brown.
Can you believe that shit?
His little thing in the beginning.
I felt seduced in that moment because
well, that was the point, right?
Yeah.
Like, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, fuck this. Oh my god.
I think I literally screamed, what the fuck? Did I just hear that?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no. Wow. Okay. Because like Jim Brown goes to a supposed friend and he treats him in most of the scene like an honored guest.
Really good. He's like, oh, I'm so glad to have you here. Oh, anyone gives you any trouble, you let me know. You're all of this, like he's just really just like, just praising him and showering him with love. And then, but they're talking on the porch, and the daughter comes like, remember your promise to move that furniture. And he's like, I gotta go do this. You take off, have a good day. And Jim Brown, being a good guy, like, you're moving furniture, I can help you out. And then he's like, and like just without a hint of any like no fear, he just says it like, like of course, like it's a known thing, like of course. He's like, well, we don't let N-words in the house. He's like, it'll be fine. See, I'll catch you later. And I'm just like, oh my god, like that really fucking hit me because the way it was set up, it just came out of nowhere. But then it's like, what do you expect for this time period, these kinds of people in this part of the country? I don't know. It was bad, but again, it also plays into the fact that we, like, the whole question of like, what does it mean to be a successful black man in this world? In like the world of 1965 United States America. Going through this. These are the people that are quick to pat you on the back, and then that informs his sort of monologue later on, where he's like, where he basically goes, I hate these people the fucking most. The people that are racist to my face, that's one thing, but the people that'll smile and pat your back and I fucking hate them the most, right? It's a good movie.
Interesting stuff that, there's like a lot of, most of the fighting happens between Malcolm X and Sam Cooke, and there's this like really interesting criticism of Malcolm X, of Sam Cooke, that he's too friendly to white people and he hangs around white places. Like, I think he was at a quote unquote white hotel, or he was welcomed at one of those like uppity places. He kind of is treated as like the pretentious person of the group. Although, I mean, how can you be more pretentious than Malcolm X? I don't know.
Not pretentious, more like the sellout.
That's an even worse word than pretentious. But Sure.
I know it's harsh.
Yeah.
I don't know a less harsh word for sellout. But you can tell Malcolm kind of hits him with those kinds of implications, and that's why he gets so mad.
Yeah.
And then, but there's so many good back and forth, because then, Jim Brown sort of hits Malcolm X with like, we both know that there is a difference between being light brown and dark brown, and a lot of light brown individuals maybe, they're doing this to have something to prove, basically implying like he's trying to prove to the white man that he is black. He kind of throws some stuff his way, and then he counters it. There's a lot of really good discussion. It's really well written. Who's it? Terrence Blanchard. Oh no, that's the composer. Where's the writer?
Kemp Powers.
Kemp Powers.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did a really good job.
Yeah.
Because the conversations have to hold you.
This should get a screenplay nomination.
I think it should. I thought it was really good. I'd love to see other work of him in film.
You have. It's called Soul.
I know, but I mean, other than that.
Yeah. I think this really wraps it up nicely. This is a review from the New York Times of the movie. One Night in Miami, at first glance, might be taken as a minor anecdote plucked from a larger narrative. It doesn't make grand statements about race, politics, sports, or music. It's just a bunch of guys talking, bantering, blustering, dropping their defenses and opening their hearts. But the substance of their talk is fascinating, and their arguments echo powerfully in the present. This is one of the most exciting movies I've seen in quite some time.
Yeah. I agree. Mr. New York Times.
Sure. Yeah, I think to me, like, yeah, Leslie Odom Jr. is going to get a nomination for Best Supporting Actor. I would definitely throw in Kingsley Benadir, but it seems that's not likely to happen. But a screenplay nomination, there's talk of Regina King getting a director nomination for Best Director and maybe even Best Picture nomination as well for this film. So.
And again, if maybe they're feeling, maybe if it wasn't on their radar before, they're feeling the heat for the race reasons,
right?
Give this film a second look, and because it is one that I think it should, and theoretically it is one where the Academy, I think, would like, but I feel it just hasn't been gotten the attention maybe it deserves. And what I also like about it is I'm kind of over like slave films. You know what I mean? I'm over films that are just indulging in the suffering that so many Black people went through at that time, and it's just it becomes too much, and it becomes overindulgent, and it became almost a I don't want to say a joke, but like a whole thing of like, oh, the Academy only cares about, Black actors if they do play a slave in a movie or something like that. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's 12 Years a Slave that won Best Picture a few years ago. I mean, that
was a great film.
It's a great film. That's true. But at the same time, I think on your first point, I feel we have more than enough movies about slavery that can last us 10,000 lifetimes. I'm not sure we need any more of those films. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, it wasn't the fact that movies about slavery were being made that was the issue. The issue was the only kind of Black movies, movies with majority Black ensemble casts, the only ones that were being made for a while were just slave films, which is insulting to them and insulting to the rest of us, quite frankly, because clearly that's not the only kind of story that can be told with people of color. That's where the criticism comes from. And then, of course, comes the cliche of the Oscar bait films, is that the only films that they would recognize that would feature people of color is if people of color were suffering or in chains or killed or some kind of cliche.
You don't want
or
to see them doing
stereotype.
anything else, but you just want to see them suffering. And I think a lot of people got offended by that, and I completely understand that.
Well, Cynthia Erivo. Didn't
would
Cynthia
be,
Erivo just get nominated for what's her name? Harriet Tubman just a few years ago, right? Or was it last year?
Yeah. But I guess my thing is, I wish, I don't think there isn't an issue still talking about, the struggle.
Yeah, that's not what you're saying.
Because I think you can do it without indulging in that. If it's just like black suffering porn. Yeah. And I feel like some films fall into that, and it's just bad. Where this is a film that really just dives headfirst into all those issues, but you don't see any of that. It's not about that. It's about these, four brilliant men, and they're sort of trying to navigate those waters and think like, what's the best way to move forward, not only for them but for a whole people. And maybe they don't want to be, there's even that conversation that comes up where between Jim Brown and Malcolm X, where he's like, I don't want to be a warrior. I don't want to be anyone's warrior. And I think that's kind of what makes him break down. It's like, we have to be. So you can talk about those things and make riveting films about those things without just falling into, like I said, black suffering porn. And the way I feel it sort of became a staple of Hollywood to do that.
Yeah, that's another interesting conversation. I hope Regina King makes more movies. I think this is
it's a really good debut.
Yeah, and I think, with, again, like One Night in Miami, I don't think you would qualify that as it's not a biopic because it's a fictional event. It's a fictional account of a night, but it's also quite informative as well. I'm just hopeful. Like, I really am appreciative of, let's just say, the films that are based off history, at least feel not all like the same movie nowadays.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They're better, basically, is what I'm saying now. They're all taking different approaches. That makes the subject far more interesting. I hope that if I ever am in a setting where I'm teaching a history class, I have more than enough examples to choose from. Again, if I'm living in a state where, they allow, actual education to be taught, that's a different situation altogether. But, we live in this country, so, yeah.
And that's the thing that's cool with this film. It's not even historically accurate in the slightest. Like, it was just made up.
Yeah.
But it's good. So,
yeah. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and call it off there. I want to thank you all for listening to our program. You can listen to our podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts, whether it be on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, CastBox, iHeartRadio, and Google. Every single Sunday, sometimes on Thursdays. Stay tuned for our WandaVision finale and Fantasy Fair Into the Table. And until next time, we'll see you back under the spotlight. Bye-bye.